it, be yourself, be true to yourself. So I'm going to do a class today. The class today I want to work on is kind of going through the different muscular and neurological areas. And in yoga, we call these chakras. Chakras roughly coincide with the ganglion nerve bundles up and down your spine. And I want to make sure that we address all of them. So the very lowest ganglion nerve bundle, it's legs, and then as you move up, it's hips and reproductive system and the digestive system, and then it just keeps moving up. And so each bundle sort of innervates different chunks of your body. So we're going to move from the bottom chakra up and go from there. So, all right, let's start. And we will start with a few sun salutations and then go from there. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'd like to work on sun salutation C first, move more through the sagittal plane, and then we'll kind of play with the other sun salutations. So we're going to take the feet about hips distance apart and take a moment and roll the shoulders onto your back and stretch your fingers toward the ground. So this is Tadasana, mountain pose. Lift the top of your head and then close your eyes and take a moment to just rock back and forth slightly forward and backward. You can even go from side to side, but just check and see where your body is and where you may be feeling a little weakness or vulnerability. Make sure you're breathing here. And remember, when you're breathing, you're trying to breathe into the back and sides of your ribs. This tends to be an underutilized area that we can expand and we just don't tend to breathe into because the ribs tend to flare forward and open up more in the front. So see if you can breathe into the back of the rib cage. And we're going to go for some slow sun salutation C at first, and we'll see if we want to speed this up a little bit. So take the arms up on the inhale, look up toward the thumbs. Exhale, fold, bend the knees. If you're really tight, blocks are nice. So you can always use blocks there to help you lunge forward and lunge backward. Inhale, stretch forward, exhale, fold. Do a couple more of these. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And inhale, lengthen, and exhale, step your left leg back. Again, you can always use blocks for a little bit of support here. Inhale, take the arms up toward the sky. Drop your shoulders down your back. Pull the front ribs in so you're able to get a little bit more space in your back. Drag your left knee and your right heel toward each other. All right, exhale, take your hands down to the ground. Step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky. Take 5 breaths here. You may need to put a little bit of a bend in your standing leg. Relax your neck a little bit. Shake out your head, nod your head. Just make sure your neck feels nice and long and relaxed. And bring that left knee up into your chest and step it forward. Take your time, especially if you have got weak abs or tight hip flexors. Drop that back knee down. Take the arms up on the inhale, pull the belly in, breathe into the back, pull the front ribs in, drop your shoulders. And big exhale. Take the hands down to the ground. Lift the back knee up first and step it forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips and relax. Inhale, take it to the sky. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, right leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, let's add in a little bit of shoulder here. Interlace the fingers behind your back. See if you can drop the shoulders down and look up. And exhale, take the hands down to the ground. Step back. Lift your right leg toward the sky. Take 5 breaths here. Relax the neck. On your next exhale, bring that knee up into your chest and step it forward. And interlace your fingers again, go for the non-dominant grip. So put the other thumb and first finger on top. And drop your shoulders a little bit. Look up. And release the hands to the ground. Step your left leg forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, reach your tailbone back and your heart forward. Exhale, fold, zip up your belly a little bit. Inhale, take it to the sky. And exhale, arms to the sides. All right, we're gonna do 2 more pretty fast, so just go at your own pace, but speed it up a little bit. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. Take the arms up on the inhale. And exhale, hands down, step back. Left leg up, big inhale. And exhale, lunge it forward. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step your right leg forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch your heart forward. Exhale, step your right leg back. Grow up your back knee. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground, step back. Lift your right leg toward the sky. On your next exhale, lunge it forward. Arms up, inhale. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Step your left leg forward. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, arms to the sides. You should be feeling a little bit looser. Let's try another one. Arms up, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step back. Lift your left leg. Open up the hip this time and bend the knee. And then see if you can lift that left knee a little higher and press your left heel towards your right hip a little bit more. You may find that you're starting to dip all your weight into your right armpit. If that's the case, lift your right armpit up. All right, next big exhale, bring that left knee up into the chest, step it forward, drop your back knee, take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground, step your right leg forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your heart. Exhale, step your right leg back. Drop your back knee. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, hands down. Step back, lift your right leg up. All right, once that right leg is up, open up the hip, bend the knee. Lift that right knee up a little bit more so you're starting to feel the outer glutes of that right hip. Get a little bit of a lift under your left armpit. Try to level out the shoulders. And on your next exhale, bring that right knee forward. Take the arms up, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step your left leg forward. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, arms to the sides. So we'll come back to this. Let's go to sun A though. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin. Lower down halfway. Make sure the shoulders don't go below the elbows. Inhale to the tops of the feet. And exhale, downward dog. Walk it out a little bit. So the backs of the legs should start. They should be feeling a little bit warmed up. But if you're still feeling pretty tight in the hamstrings, that little walk can help. Just sort of help those hamstrings get a little bit longer without adding any extra stress by trying to straighten the legs. And look up. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, arms to sides. All right, big toes together, heels slightly apart. Interlace the fingers, press the palms of the hands forward. Sink back into an imaginary chair. And then keep reaching your hips back to see if you can get a little bit more length as you reach your collarbones forward and your tailbone back. Zip up the low belly a little bit. Big breaths. All right, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lower down. You can always drop those knees. Inhale, tops the feet. Exhale, downward dog. Left heel pivots and plants. Right foot lunges forward. Warrior one on the inhale. And pull the front hip points up. See if you can drop your tailbone a little bit. Drop your shoulders. Look up toward the thumbs. Exhale, take the hands down the ground. Let's do a side plank. Step back. Find your left hand or left forearm and take your right arm toward the sky and claw the ground with your left fingers. And then when you're here, take your right hand to the back of your head and press your hand and head into each other. So press your head back into your hand. You're getting a little bit of a back bend, a little bit more shoulders here. A couple different variations of this if you're feeling a little wobbly. You can put your right foot on the ground. You can also put your right shin on the ground. So know that there are other places to go if that back bend is getting a little difficult to work with. All right, right hand back down the ground. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Big inhale, take it up. Lift your front hip points. Press into the outer edge of your back foot. Try to lift the inner arch of your back foot. Drop your shoulders and look up. All right, hands back down to the ground. Side plank on the other side. So you can come to your forearm or your hand. You can drop a foot or a shin. Take that left arm toward the sky. And then claw the ground with your right fingers. And then when you feel pretty stable, you're going to bring that left hand to the back of your head and push your head back into your hand and open up a little bit more. All right, and left hand back down the ground. Find a downward dog or child's pose. Take a moment. Check in with your wrists. If your wrists are not happy with you, take a child's pose instead. Breathe deeply, lengthen your neck. And look up, inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, sink down. This time take the arms up and then pull the shoulders down your back and see if you can bring your arms back more in line with your ears. You're going to feel a lot more back muscle here. If you've got really tight shoulders, separate your arms a little bit, but keep dropping the shoulders down your back. And inhale, straighten up. Exhale, arms to the sides. All right, let's do another sun salutation B with another couple variations to it. Take the arms up on the inhale, sit back. Again, try to pull the shoulders down and arms in line with your ears. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left heel plants, right foot lunges. Warrior one on the inhale. All right, so we're gonna do a couple different openings of the hips and a twist here. Bring your hands down to either the blocks or the ground. So if you're a little tight, put your blocks underneath you And see if you can slide your left foot back a little bit more. We're trying to get this right thigh roughly parallel to the ground. Once you're here, hands on blocks or hands on the ground, you're going to walk your hands over to the left corner of your mat. And then drag your feet toward each other, pull them toward the midline, flare your hips out for a moment so your inner thighs are going to go back, and then tack your outer right hip around towards your inner left thigh. So you should be feeling a little bit of IT band stretch here on the outer hip. All right, walk it back to the center. This is going to be the hard part here. You're going to come back up to warrior one. So big inhale, come up. All right, now we're going to try to twist to the other side. So again, left hand can come down to the block or to the ground. Turn your left toes forward. So you now have all 10 toes pointing forward. And then press down into the ground or into the block and take your right arm toward the sky. So you're twisting to your right. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Press down really firmly through that left hand so you feel your left shoulder opening up. Otherwise, it feels a little bit compressed. So really press down hard through that left hand. All right, bring your right hand down to the ground. Move that block out of the way. If you're using it, step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Take it up on the inhale. Okay, so we're going to go to the other side here. Hands down to blocks or the ground. Slide that right foot back a little bit in order to get your left thigh a little closer to parallel. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then walk your hands over to the right corner of your mat. Drag your feet toward each other. And flare your inner thighs out. So inner thighs flare back, butt sticks out essentially. And then once you do that, you're going to tack your outer left hip, outer left glutes around toward your inner right thigh and essentially line up the hips a little bit better. So breathe deeply here. And if you're feeling your outer left hip and outer left thigh, that's what we're going for. If you feel like your right leg is kind of flaccid, firm up your inner right thigh up against your thigh bone. We're going to take one moment to use these hips a little bit harder. So we're going to come up to warrior one. So take it up to warrior one, big inhale. And then bring your hands back down again. All right, block or ground underneath your right hand. Turn your right toes forward. So all 10 toes are pointing forward. And then squeeze your inner thighs together. Twist to your left and take your left arm toward the sky. And then really press down strong through that right hand so you can feel that right shoulder open up, give you a little bit more space to work with. Big breaths. All right, left hand back down to the ground. Move that block out of the way. Step back, down dog, or if you'd like to take a little moment here and just rest and see what has changed in the last few minutes, you could do a child's pose. So check in, essentially. Breathe deeply. Do you feel warmer? Where do you feel warmer? All right, look up, inhale, find your down dog if you're not in one. And step forward. Big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Sink into Utkatasana. Take the arms up, look up. Drop the shoulders, pull the arms back in line with your ears. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms the sides. All right, we're coming back to Sun Citation C. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. All right, deeper twist, moving up the chakras, up the spine. Take the left arm up and over and stretch over to your right hand side. And then maybe look up towards your left hand. All right, left elbow to the outside of your right leg. Lift your rib cage up, pull it around a little bit, and bring your hands together. So hands will probably be on the right side of your chest. See if you can bring them a little bit closer to the center. Flip your back toes over so you can push down. See if you can get your back knee to lift a little bit. Eventually, you're going to try to straighten that left leg a little bit more. All right, hands to the ground, step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky, open up the hip, bend the knee. All right, we're gonna try to flip our dog into a back bend. If that does not seem feasible to you, I'll give you another option in a second. So lift your right heel up, pivot your toes to the left, bend your right knee. That left leg feels heavy, so let it come over. The left hand's gonna follow, and you're gonna look at your left hand. So you can stay here and breathe. If you're there and you're like, oh, that's just a little bit too complicated, you can just flop down, sit on your butt, put your right hand on the ground, pointing toward the top of your mat. Drop your feet under your knees and press into them. Same posture, less twisting. All right, let's try to flip it over. So slowly bring that left hand back to the ground. Take that left leg up and lunge your left leg forward. Drop your back knee. All right, a little bit more quads here. Bring your arms to the inside of your left leg. Drag your right knee and left heel toward each other. Zip up your belly. If you want to go down a little bit deeper, your block may come in very handy. You can bring your forearms to a block, or if you happen to be on the more flexible side, you can bring forearms to the ground. So we're going to add in a little bit more quads on this one, so it's an open twist on this side. Give it about 2 more big breaths. Okay, so right hand on the ground or on the block, you're going to turn your left toes out to the left. Bring your left hand to your thigh. Look over your left shoulder. So you got a nice open twist here. And then maybe bend your back knee and maybe drag your right knee forward. And that might be enough. If you want to keep going, reach your left arm back. So that's going to open up that left shoulder. And then possibly you will grab the foot with the hand. That right shoulder likes to roll in too, so roll the right shoulder onto your back. All right, and then release. Turn everything forward, lift your back knee up, and step your right leg forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine out. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, step your right leg back. All right, let's go for the twist on this side. So take that right arm up and over. Take some big deep breaths as you lengthen out through this right side. Maybe look up towards your right hand. That creates a neutral curve in your neck, which can be really useful. All right, nice twist. Take that right arm to the outside of your left leg. Lift your belly up. Twist your ribcage around a little bit. Bring your hands together. Look over your left shoulder. See if you can bring your hands closer to the center of your chest. Flip your back toes over. Press into the toes. See if you can get your knee up a little bit. Maybe a lot. Breathe deeply. Keep pulling your ribs in and your belly in. So make sure you're expanding into your back. Twists are one of the hardest things to breathe in. So you really want to pay attention to the space in your back here. All right, hands to the ground, step back. Lift your right leg toward the sky. Open up the hip, bend the knee. We're going to try to flip our dog, and I'll give you that other option in a second as well. Lift your left heel up high, pivot your toes to the right, bend your left leg a little bit, let that right leg grow heavy, come over and flip it. Otherwise, if you're here and you're a little trepidatious about this, you can just drop your knees to the ground, drop your butt to the ground, left hand down, feet under the knees, push into the feet, and look at your right hand. All right, try to flip it over. So slowly twist and lunge your right leg forward. All right, from here, block possibly, or using the ground. Maybe bring your forearms down a little bit deeper. If you're feeling any tightness in your inner hip, you can turn those toes out. Breathe deeply, drag your left knee and your right heel toward each other. So you notice we're slowly, and it may not be that subtly, but we're slowly moving through all different sides of the hips. So turn those right toes out, bring your right hand to your thigh, roll your right shoulder under your back, and look past your right shoulder toward the back of your mat. That left shoulder is rolling in, so roll that left shoulder onto your back and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Great posture. You do not have to go any deeper. This is fantastic. But if you want to experiment a little bit, see if you can bend your back knee. Keep dragging your left knee forward. Open up your right shoulder a little bit more. If it seems appropriate, then you can also try to grab the foot. Anytime, so I'm on the top fleshy part above my knee, at the bottom of my thigh. Some people are a little bit more stuck in the knee area. And if that's the case, you can always have a blanket underneath you as well. So if you need a little extra padding under the knee, that's a great idea. Take about 2 more big breaths. All right, right hand back down to the ground. Turn those toes forward. Let's take a moment and step forward, but then we're going to hang. So you're going to take your feet about hips distance apart, grab your elbows, press your top forearm into your bottom forearm. All right, take your hands to your hips, squeeze your elbows toward the sky, bend the knees. Big inhale, come all the way up. All right, we're gonna smash a bunch of stuff together and go for a vinyasa flow. So take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left heel plants, right foot lunges. Warrior 1, inhale, and then open up for warrior 2. Drop your shoulders, lift your triceps. Look straight down your middle right finger. Imagine somebody's grabbing your back hand. The reason why is most of us kind of lean into this right knee. So you want to pull your torso a little bit more into your back leg so you can feel some more work happening in that back hip. All right, bring your right forearm to your right thigh. Turn your left thumb down, bring the hand behind you. See if you can grab a piece of clothing or your inner right thigh. If you want to go a little bit deeper, make sure you've got enough space between your feet. You can slide that left foot away a little bit and bring your right hand down to a block or down to the ground. Zip up the low belly. Now straighten up the front leg. Keep that bind with the arm. Push down through your back heel. You're going to keep this bind and see if you can go into a half moon. So block. Slowly toe heel your left toes forward. So you're slowly coming into that right leg. And then you're going to take your weight into your right leg and extend your left leg. All right, now see if you can come down gently into warrior two and straighten up that front leg and turn your right toes forward. So the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Stretch your fist down. Lift your heart up, big inhale, and then exhale, forward bend. So it really doesn't matter how deep you go. It's more important that your chest is reaching forward, your chin is up, your spine is long. Arms may not come off the back a whole lot, but if you're trying to get them onto your back in a responsible way, you want to draw the shoulder blades together towards your spine, draw those shoulder blades down your back as well, and then keep your chin up and see if you can lift your arms up a little bit. All right, bend the knees, inhale, come on up. Bring your hands to your hips, and you're going to turn your right toes forward, and from here, we're going to go into half moon again, go into warrior three, and to reverse warrior three. So transfer your weight into that right leg, left hand down, find your half moon again, a little bit freer since you're not doing the bind. And then breathe a couple times here, and then we'll see if we can start moving through the hip. So left hip is going to spiral down. You can use both blocks if you need a little extra support. If you don't want any support, you can go for a full-blown warrior three, arms out to the sides, hands to the center, experiment, see what works for you. I have a little bit of a bend in my knee so that I'm not overstretching around the joints and the insertion points. All right, let's go for the reverse. So right thumb comes in the right hip crease, block is under my left shoulder, tack my right hip crease up and back, and then slowly I'm going to twist, and as I twist, my left leg is going to want to either bend or drop. So that's your goal, is to see if you can get your left leg to get a little bit straighter or a little bit higher. Roll your right shoulder onto your back. And if you're interested in just playing around with this one, you can bend your back knee and see if you can reach back and grab the left foot with your right hand. That's going to give you a bigger stretch in your outer right hip. And it's probably working pretty hard already. Don't feel like you have to. You can just be gently twisting to the right, trying to figure out how to keep that left leg up. All right, and come back down. Let's do a little child's pose. Just check in. You're gonna feel really unbalanced. Take a moment and just check in and see how everything feels. Big breaths. All right, spread your fingers out wide. Find your downward dog. Right heel pivots and plants, left foot lunges forward. Warrior one on the inhale. And then open up for warrior two. All right, so left knee over the ankle. You should be able to see your big toe and maybe the toe next to it when you look down. Knee doesn't have to be perfectly over the ankle, but you want to make sure it's roughly there and not way past it. And then most of you kind of lean into that front leg a little bit. So imagine somebody's grabbing this back hand, pull your torso back into that back leg. Drop your shoulders, look straight down your middle left finger. All right, bring that left forearm to the left thigh, turn the right thumb down, bring the hand behind you. Wrap it around, see if you can grab a piece of clothing or your inner left thigh. Look over your right shoulder. If you want to go a little bit deeper, slide that right foot away a little bit. See if you can bring your hand to a block or to the ground. Zip up your low belly. All right, start straightening up that front leg and lengthen through the left side. So you're in a triangle with a half bind. Pull the low belly in. Uddiyana Bandha. All right, let's try for our bound half moon. So you're gonna bend that left knee again, toe heel that right foot forward. So you're starting to slowly get some weight into that left leg. Take your block under your left shoulder and slowly come into that left leg. Breathe. Maybe look over the right shoulder, but make sure that you feel comfortable about that. Take a few breaths, go slowly. All right, we're going to try to come down into a warrior two. So slowly do that. And then straighten up the front leg. Turn the left toes forward. Outer edges of the feet parallel to the edges of the mat, short edges. Bring your hands to your hips. Lift your heart on the inhale. Exhale, forward bend. Reach down, grab your big toes with your first two fingers. If you can actually grab your big toes pretty comfortably, pull up on your big toes. If you're not that comfortable about grabbing, you may want to come up a little higher. Squeeze your legs to the midline, and then reach your heart forward. Zip up your belly. If you feel any tugging behind the knees, micro bend the knees, get a little softness into them. And then check and see where your weight is. Make sure you've got some weight in the inner heels as well as the outer heels. All right, bend the knees, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, come on up. Turn your left toes forward. All right, let's try for the full-blown hip. So lunge into your left leg, bring your right hand to your hip. Find your half moon. Walk over under that left shoulder. All right, and then once you're here, we're going to slowly transfer this into warrior three. So if you need blocks, go for it. Otherwise, if you want something way more challenging, arms out in front of you is pretty intense. Arms out to the sides is a little bit more opening for the shoulders if you've got tight shoulders. All right, let's twist. Put that block on your right shoulder, left thumb into your left hip crease. Lengthen your spine, lengthen your right leg. Start twisting gently. Keep trying to tuck that left hip back. This is great. Right leg is going to be doing a lot of resisting, trying to drop to the ground and trying to bend. So do your best to get a little bit straighter or a little bit higher. So you can use these butt muscles, essentially. If you want to add in a little extra, you can bend your knee. And if you want to add in that shoulder, you can do that as well. All right, and let it go. All right, child's pose one more time so you can just check in and see how your hips feel. It also evens out the hips since we did some asymmetrical stuff here. Make sure that SI joint's a happy place. Okay, so from here, we're going to do an arm balance. And if you are not used to arm balances, don't think of this as much of an arm balance. Think of it more of a twist, and little by little, you'll get some more strength in your fingers. So we're going to go for a lunge forward. We've been doing a lot of lunges, right? So we're prepped for this. So right leg forward, we're essentially going to twist to the right. And for many of you, this is going to be huge just because of the hip. So the twist may be where you hang out. So take the left arm up and stretch over to your right side. Take a few deep breaths here. All right, you're going to take that left arm to the outside of the right leg. Lift your belly up, pull it around, and go for your twist. So great place to hang out. Now, as we go deeper, it's going to become slightly bigger twist, and then it's going to become more in the hands. So what you need to do is figure out how to get your hands to the ground. Hands can point forward, to the side. It doesn't matter as long as they're shoulder distance apart. So some people like to lean back a little bit and kind of straighten up their front leg. If you do that, make sure the left arm stays connected to your right leg. So I try to take my left hand to the ground, my left arm and right leg are still touching. Then I take my right hand to the ground, and then I'm going to flip the back toes over and try to get my back leg straight. So it's still a twist. I'm not really doing any arm balancing. I am putting more weight in my hands. Reach my heart forward, back leg is up, and then I try to bend my left arm, and my right leg hopefully is kind of resting on the back of my left arm so I can get my right leg up. That's a big hip opener. And then the back leg lifts up. So you can kind of play with it and just see if you can get a leg up. Front leg will come up first. Take about 2 more big breaths. I'll show you from a different angle just so everything makes sense on camera. So you got your twist. Hands parallel to the ground, or parallel to each other. Then left leg lifts up, right leg lifts up, and then you lean forward, lift your chin, and eventually that back leg will lift up. Eventually. All right. Child pose. Take a moment. All right, let's go for the other side. Lunge your left leg forward. Again, keep in mind the twist is the most important part. The arm balance is just icing on top as you get a little bit more flexible and stronger in the hands. So take that right arm up and over, stretch over to your left, breathe. All right, take that right arm to the outside of the left leg. Lift your rib cage and belly, twisting to the left. Look over that left shoulder. Take a few moments here. It should be a familiar posture. All right, now this is the hard side for most right-handers. The left hip tends to be tighter, so just keep that in mind. It may not look the same. So right hand to the ground, try to keep that connection between left leg and right hand or right arm. And then left hand to the ground, and then flip the back toes over so that you're trying to get that back knee off the ground. Reach your heart forward, and then hang out here. Maybe see if you can bend your right arm and get that left leg on top, and then that right leg will lift up. And again, I'll show from a couple different directions here. So make sure your chest keeps lifting. There's some core involved in here. So twist. Right hand down, left hand down. Walk that left foot over to the right a little bit. Make sure my right arm is bent so the outside of my left thigh is on the back of my arm. And then see if I can reach my heart forward, lift my chin. Left leg will extend, big stretch, and then the right leg lifts up. All right, child's pose. All right. A little bit of a groin stretch here. You're going to put one block on either side of your mat, half on, half off. And then we're going to take our knees to the blocks. You can do this without blocks. It's just our knees tend to be a little tender and the blocks tend to be nice and soft. So feet stay in, or you can go parallel with the shins and then bring your hands, forearms down. So the most important thing about this is not how wide your legs go. Obviously, this is emulating a variation of the splits, right? What we're just trying to do is get the inner thighs and groin to open up a little bit because you have a lot of muscles that come into one spot in your groin. So you're trying to just loosen up a little bit there. One of the ways to do that is to tighten up your buttocks a little bit. That'll create a little bit of stability. And another thing is, excuse me, another thing is just slightly move, just a little bit. So you can go forward and backwards, side to side. You can move your pelvis, your pubic bone specifically, and little tiny circles clockwise and counterclockwise. So the whole point is just don't be static in this posture. You can make tiny, tiny movements and breathe. All right, slowly come out of it. And hopefully you're a little bit more loosened up, and we're going to try something that works with that same area. Okay, so legs out, block in front, kneecaps pointing up, toes pointing up. And then you're going to bring your hands to your blocks or your block, and then you're going to tighten up the tops of your thighs. So the tops of your thighs are tightening up these quadriceps, and they're pressing your thigh bones down, essentially. They're helping to root down your hips and thigh bones. Then you're going to put your hands on your block, and you're going to hang out here. So if you're super tight, you're just going to try to sit up really tall here. So I'll show from a different angle as well. What you're avoiding doing is this, the hanging back and the rounding the back is sitting in the back of the hips. You want to be able to lift up and get your spine nice and long. And in a perfect world, you should have the tiniest little bit of a curve down here in your low back. So you're hanging out, nice deep breaths, tightening up the tops of the thighs, pressing your thigh bones down. As appropriate, you're going to hinge forward, but try not to hinge by rounding the back, right? You want to keep your chest up and your chin up and make sure that your back is long. And eventually you'll come down, but really this is inner groin. So some of this is hamstring for sure. And the hamstrings over time will loosen up, but the inner groin, I think, is probably the most difficult place to loosen up since you have all these muscles that go into those same exact insertion point. So be patient and breathe. It's important to do this, but it's not important to try to make major progress fast. So big inhales, big exhales. Keep pressing your thigh muscles down into your thigh bones. So that's actually the most important part of this posture, besides keeping your spine long. Grounding down and rooting your hips down, grounding your thighs down. And eventually, over time, you're going to loosen up. But, some of us had years of ballet or dance or cheerleading or gymnastics or whatever. So some people are just a little looser than others. So give your body the space to recognize that it may not have been doing this posture for years and years, and let it do what it wants to do. Just do it right by keeping your spine long and engaging quadricep muscles. All right, come on up and grab your thighs on the outside, bend your knees, and pull your legs together. All right, we're going to go for a quick little cow face pose. You're going to bring your left leg underneath and right leg over. There are a couple different ways to get into this posture, but this is the most simple way. Your right knee is roughly stacked over your left knee. If you have bad knees, that bottom leg can be straight. So from here, once you're in this posture, and this is where a strap can come in really handy, I'm going to give you a lot of different options. Strap will be in your left hand, and left arm comes up. Bring the hand behind your head. You're going to grab your left elbow and pull your left arm behind your head. So I'm making this look really easy. Many people, their arms are way off to the left. That's okay. So from here, taking some nice deep breaths. Keep your chin up. Big inhales and big exhales. All right, so you have a couple of options here. You can attempt to let go of that left arm, take the right arm out, thumb down, and then bring the back of the hand up and see if you can grab your strap or your fingers. Many people feel a pinch as this right shoulder tends to roll in. They don't have enough strength to open up here. So if that's you, if you're doing this posture and you're like, ow, the front of my right shoulder doesn't feel good, then you probably need to work a little bit harder on flexibility in your right shoulder. So if that's the case, take that left arm, release it, take your right arm out to the side, point the thumb down, Bring the right hand around. You're going to grab your right hand with your left hand and pull your hand over to the left. So it's a fist that you're making over on your left side, or as close to your left side as you can get. So you either have this grabbing the hands behind the back thing or grabbing the strap behind your back, or now you've just got this fist over on the left side of your hip. And if that's the case, stick with that fist on the left side of your hip, and you're going to forward bend whatever variation of this posture you've got, whether you've got an elbow up or not. So breathe deeply. A little bit of a forward bend so you're getting into the hips. Zip up your low belly. All right, come on out of this, and we're not done yet. We're done with the shoulders for a moment, but we're going to keep this hip thing here. So you're going to take your left hand out to the side. If your right leg is on top, you're going to go to your left side. Take your right arm over and stretch, and maybe drop your left elbow to the ground. So it's a pretty easy stretch on this side because your right hip is not pinned down and it can lift up a little bit. So you're getting a nice big stretch through the right side. Important. We're working toward back bends. We want to make sure these oblique abdominals are nice and stretched out. All right, come on up. Now we're going to go for the tougher side, so you may want to block on this one. Block on the ground or right hand on the ground, left arm up, stretch to your right. Eventually, you're going to drop that right elbow to the ground someday, and then look up toward your left hand. And I'm really a fan of this posture. This is a long line of fascia, basically all the way from the knee, up the thigh, through the hip, through the side of the rib cage. It's just huge, and you can tell it's tight. I don't care how flexible you are. You can tell it's the tight part of your body. All right, come on out of it. Nice work. All right, let's go for the other side. So switch legs, put the left leg on top. Right leg can be straight if you're having some bending issues with that right leg, right knee. And then once you're here, let's go for the arms. So right arm up, start simple. Bring the back of the hand to the back. You can put your strap in it if you want. And then you're going to take your right elbow and try to gently press down and see if you can pull that right elbow behind your head a little bit. Keep your chin up. Deep breaths. So we're going through this tricep line right here. And some people are tight here and some people aren't. Don't forget to breathe. Usually it's the biceps that are tight. So it's that bottom arm that's the difficult one, which is why I like to focus on it. All right, so see if you can keep that arm there. If you think that's going to work, take the left arm out, thumb down, bring the hand behind you. See if you can grab your strap or your fingers. If that is not working for your left shoulder and you feel a lot of pinching in your left shoulder, then you're essentially going to take that left hand over to the right, slide it over to the right, grab your left hand with your right hand and pull that fist over to your right side a little bit more. And that's going to help open up this left shoulder, give you some more stretch through the front of that rotator cuff. And then forward bend. So forward bend with this more simplified version, or forward bend, grabbing your strap or your hands behind your back. Make sure you don't feel any pinching in the front of that left shoulder. It's super important. That can create impingement over time, which is not cool. That can create, once you get impingement in your shoulder over a period of time, that can start leading to neck aches and headaches. It's just not fun. So pay really close attention to that left shoulder. Be honest with yourself. Figure out if you need to be doing a half posture rather than a full posture. All right, and release those arms. We're going to go to the right first since the left leg is on top. So right hand down to the ground or to the block. Take that left arm over and stretch it over. See if you can drop your right elbow to the ground. And if you can, look up towards your left hand. So that creates a neutral neck, a nice curve. All right, and then bring it back up. Let's go to the tougher side. Left hand on the ground, maybe the left elbow someday. Right arm over. Look up toward that right hand. All right, and then inhale, come on up. Okay, so back bends on our bellies. From here, I'm going to use this blanket as a bit of a prop. So some people have different shaped tailbones, different shaped pubic bones. Some people on their bellies don't feel very comfortable, their pubic bones pressing into the ground too much. So this is where some blanket can help out. And you can just be on a blanket or some cushioning here. So from here, we're going to use this in a couple different ways. So you're in this posture right now. Let's go for Shalabhasana. So you're going to take your arms back behind you, legs up, get really long. So you're trying to lift shoulders and chest up and legs up, but you want to make sure you're not compressing in the low back here. If you are compressing the low back, roll your pubic bone toward the ground more and lengthen your tailbone toward the back of your mat more. All right, now make a little pillow with your hands and turn your head to one side and relax. All right, we're going to do another one. This time, you're going to go for a grab behind the back and go for your non-dominant grip. So put the other thumb and first finger on top. It should feel like you're holding somebody else's hand. Roll your shoulders onto your back. Stretch your fists back behind you. See if you can keep your feet on the ground. They usually really want to pop up, so see if you can keep pressing your toes toward the ground. And then keep stretching your shoulders down your back, and if it seems appropriate, lift your arms up, but don't force it. All right, and release. Make a little pillow. Turn your head the other direction. Relax. All right, on this next one, you're going to do another variation of the Shalabhasana, but this time you're going to try to keep your legs together. So squeeze your legs together, squeeze your ankles together. Try not to let your ankles separate. So you're essentially trying to create one big leg with your two legs. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then we're going to take the hands to the back of the head. And then lift your legs up and lift your head up and lift your elbows up, but keep your legs together. And release. Make a little pillow. Turn your head to one side. All right. Push back and sit on your heels. So if your knees are tight, grumpy, or you have replacement knees and you can't do that, that's okay. Stay on your belly if you have knees that won't bend this way. If you have knees that are just a little bit grumpy and you can mostly sit back, you can also sit on a block. So, and you can sit on 2 blocks for that matter. So replacement knees, usually you're here and that's about as far as your knee goes. So stay on your belly. Otherwise, see if you can sit on a block or on your feet. Take a moment here and breathe. Spread your toes out. And what we want to do is we're going to change this blanket a little bit. So hang out here if you're sitting here. Press your toes into the ground. Press your toenails in the ground and spread your toes out. If you're on your front, you're still going for a bit of a quadricep stretch by bending your knees, but you're going to reach your knees toward the wall. So I'm extending through my quadriceps by reaching my knees for the wall. My feet aren't doing a whole lot. They could lift a little bit if you wanted, but the major thing is from the front of the hip creases through the knees, keep stretching toward the wall. You may find that your hips, your buttocks muscles tighten up just a little bit, but don't let them clench. So resting back on your heels or resting here. And now we're going to add in some cobra. All right, so from here, this blanket is one way to do this. I like going a little bit tougher on blocks, but some people have found that it just overstretches these muscles in the ribs. So if you want to be more gentle about this, use your blanket. And you're going to put your hips on the ground and your belly on the blanket. So I'll demonstrate. Hips on the ground, belly on the blanket. If you're using the block, which is, I call this the gut smasher. So if you're using the block, same thing, hips on the ground, and then about 2 inches below the belly button, right where everybody tends to have that little pooch in the belly, the pooch kind of goes right against the front of the block. So either that or the blanket, your choice. And then you're gonna hang out here. So if you're just hanging out here, you may feel a little bit of compression in the back. You're gonna very actively roll your pubic bone toward the ground and very actively zip up your low belly and try to pull your low belly off the blanket or off the block. Now extend the legs. So get really, really straight through the legs. So my legs are shooting backwards. Imagine your legs are like fire hydrant hoses and you're shooting water out of the bottoms of your feet. So super straight, long legs. Now take your hands wide, wider than your mat. Roll your shoulders onto your back and push up, but make sure you don't have compression in your low back. So you may be a lot lower right here. Extend your legs a lot, zip up the belly and pull the belly off the blanket or off the block. Keep pulling in. It's not really going to come off the block or blanket, but keep pulling in as if you're trying to. And then you can move your hands back a little bit, drop your shoulders down your back. We're trying to get into this middle and upper back here. So you're trying to, even though all the bend seems to happen in your low back, try to avoid it by zipping up your belly, rolling your pubic bone toward the ground and extending your legs. So we're in a little bit of a cobra here. And again, you might be down here, rolling your shoulders down your back, zipping up your belly, extending your legs. This is fine. All right, take a moment, child's pose or something very, very similar to child's pose. All right, one more time. So come forward, pelvis on the ground, low belly on the blanket or on the block. Zip up that low belly, roll your pubic bone toward the ground, and then from here, push up again. So once you push up, this is where I want you to use more of your back strength. Take a hand off the ground. Keep rolling your pubic bone toward the ground and zipping up your belly. Maybe take another hand off the ground. Again, you may be a lot lower. That's okay. Keep pulling that belly in. Extend your legs. All right. Child's pose. All right, let's do one more of these. This time we're going to try to do a bigger back bend, but if the bigger back bend doesn't happen, that's okay. So we'll work toward that. So come back to your blanket or your block. And then roll your pubic bone toward the ground, extend your legs, zip up your low belly, come on up, and then you're going to bend one leg or both legs. So you may reach back and grab one leg. That's fine. You can hang out here. If you feel like you need a strap, you can go for a strap. If two legs is going to work for you, grab both legs, come into a bow, keep pulling that belly off the block. Keep rolling your pubic bone toward the block, toward the ground. Don't forget to breathe. Breathe into your back. All right, and release. Child's pose. All right, we're gonna make our way onto our backs. So take a moment on your back. Anytime you do a back bend, your hamstrings tighten up. So we're gonna do a little hamstring loosener. Bring your right leg into your chest. Squeeze your right thigh into your right rib cage. So that'll give you a moment to decompress the back if it got a little tight. The right thigh pressing into the right rib cage also presses into your ascending colon. So we'll do ascending colon first and descending colon next. Good for digestion. All right, take your right arm out to the side. Look over your right shoulder and roll onto your outer left hip and outer left thigh and stack your right hip over your left hip. And then make sure there's a little bit of a curve in your low back. So there's a little bit of a tendency to kind of tuck under here. Make sure you stick your tailbone out and there's a little curve here. Creating that nice neutral space so that your spine can decompress. Look over your right shoulder. Spine should not have been compressed in the first place, but that takes a lot of work and a lot of abdominal strength to keep it from doing so. So this is just a way to check in and make sure everything's back to a happy place. All right, roll onto your back. Let's go for the other side. Bring your left thigh in, press your left thigh into your left rib cage. Your descending colon is close. Breathe. All right, let's go for the twist. Left arm out to the side, look over the left shoulder, roll onto your outer right hip, outer right thigh, stack your left hip on top. Stick your tailbone out a little bit. Make sure there's a little bit of a curve in your low back. All right, and unwind. Take your knees pointing up toward the ceiling so your feet are on the ground, and then walk your feet out to the sides of your mat, and then you're going to drop your knees over to the right like windshield wipers, and then take your right foot on top of your left thigh near the knee and let it hang out there. If you want to add a little bit of pressure, you can do that as well. And remove that right foot. Put it back on the side of your mat. Drop your knees over to the left side. Then take your left ankle and place it on top of your right thigh near the knee. And maybe apply a little bit of pressure. All right, and then release. Okay, so you have a couple options here. After those big back bends, you may want to do a little bit more stuff for the pelvis. So putting a block at about medium height, super close to the tailbone, is a great way to relax the SI joint here. And if you want to add a little bit more relaxation in, legs against the wall is fantastic. So you can either get on your blanket or your block and scoot close to a wall. And then you can press your feet against the wall, put your hips on the block, and hang out here. Shavasana is great also. So take some big deep breaths. Arms out to the sides, palms up. Check in with your breath. Notice the big inhales and the big exhales. Roll your eyes in toward the midline where the eyes and nose meet. So if you can stay here longer, please stay here longer. Spend some more time relaxing. If you must go, press your feet against the wall, assuming you're up against the wall, so you can lift your hips up and lift the block. And then make your way over onto one side. It's always a good idea to take a few breaths while you're on one side. And then if you are coming to a seated posture, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, you can stay in your resting posture and you can just follow along mentally for a moment. Bring your hands into your heart center. Take a moment to remember to be real, to be vulnerable. That's where the real change happens. You bring your hands up to your forehead for kind thoughts, down to your lips for kind words, and down to your heart center for kind intentions. Sending a little bit peace out into the world. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.